בעזרת השם, פרשת דברים. אלה הדברים אשר דיבר משה על כל ישראל. Those are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Am Yisrael. בעבר הירדן, on the other side of the Jordan, which is the east side, במדבר, in the desert, בערבה, in the ערבה, מול סוף, in front of the Red Sea, בין פרן ובין תופל, between פרן and תופל, ולבן, and the place called לבן, וחצרות, and חצרות ודזהב. All this Moshe Rabbeinu was speaking 11 יום מחורב, כן? This was 11 days from חורב, דרך הר סעיר, going through the path of Seir, at Kadesh Barnea, reaching Kadesh Barnea. So you remark, he's speaking about places. Yeah. Lavan, Tofel, Dizav, Derech Har Seir. Everything is places. Everything is mekomot. It's place in they passed in the desert. Then the Torah says, Vayi b'arba'im shana. This was said in the 40th year, b'ashtei asar chodesh, in the 11th month, lachodesh, Be'echad lachodesh, in the first of the month. Means, in the Jewish calendar, our calendar starts with Nisan. Nisan is the first month, right? Though we have Rosh Hashanah, Tishrei, but it's not the first month. Rosh Hashanah is the 7th month of the year. Parashat Bo, when Moshe Rabbeinu is about to take the Jews, Hashem is giving him mitzvah, Achodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodeshim. This month, Nisan, for you shall be the first month in the Jewish calendar. If Nisan is the first month, what's the month coming for Nisan? Adar. Adar is the 12th month. What's the month coming before Adar? Shvat. Shvat is the 11th month. The Torah says, whatever is Moshe Rabbeinu going to say now, he's going to say it on the 40th year, on the 11th month, which is Shvat, and the first of the month, he began to say it on the first of the month. Says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, this book of Devarim is the book that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote on his own. What does it mean wrote on his own? He didn't write it. He said it, he said it, and Hashem told him how to write it. Because everything is Hashem. The whole Torah is Hashem, right?
So
even physically wrote it as Moshe Rabbeinu, but the wording, how to lenaseach, how to word it, this is Hashem telling him. So he talked to us, Moshe Rabbeinu talked to us. How long did this book was written in? How long was book of Devarim, the whole book of Devarim? Basically, last week, we finished the story of 40 years. Last week, the Torah says they fought against Midian, they killed Bil'am, they killed all the enemies, and that's it. Rashi says, that's the story, the end of the story, they're ready to go to Israel. This week, it's the taking back the history of 40 years. Writing a book about the history of the Jewish people in the desert for 40 years. Written by Moshe Rabbeinu himself, starting to write it on the 11th month, on the first of the 11th month. When did Moshe Rabbeinu pass away? Zayin Adar. So from one Shvat, first of Shvat, to Zayin Adar is exactly 37 days. From the first of Shvat to the first of Adar is 30 days. Plus 7 days is 37 days. Okay. He writes the book of Devarim, Moshe Rabbeinu writes the book of Devarim, 37 days. What does he want to say exactly? He wants to say the history, what happened during 40 years in the desert. He's not speaking about coming out of Egypt, he's not speaking about Tam Torah, right? It's going to be Aseret HaDibrot, Vayetchanan, right? Yeah. But he's more here to speak about what happened. What did they complain about? So basically it's a tochecha, it's a rebuke. Right? But he does not want to write it openly.
Embarrassing.
Because this is embarrassing what happened, right? So he wants to camouflage it. He wants to cover it. How does he cover it? Instead of telling you, oh, you remember that the man, you said the man is not good, the man is tasteless, we are tired of the man. He's going to say one word, the place. He's going to mention the places.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says, Dai lachacham birmiza. Somebody smart, you don't have to talk too much to him. You say one word, you understand exactly what you want. Okay? Dai lachacham birmiza. So Moshe Rabbeinu over here, I'll give you one example of Rashi, what he says. Rashi says, he was speaking to them about Tofel, about Lavan, Vachatzerot, Vedizav. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rashi. Says Rabbi Yochanan, I was looking in the whole Torah, trying to find the place called Tofel, and I couldn't find it. Efo Tofel. Where is Tofel mentioned in the Torah? And Shum Makom, there's no place in the 4 books that preceded, there's no place called Tofel. Says Rashi. Basically, what Moshe Rabbeinu is doing over here, okay, he's not speaking about a place called Tofel because this place is not existing. Tofel is a rebuke about the man. Tofel Lavan. What color was the man? Lavan. White. What is Tofel in Hebrew when you say the food is Tafel? What is it? Tasteless. It has no spices. עכשיו, במקום להגיד להם, instead of saying, oh, you complain about the man, that you don't like the man, if the man is white, you say it's colorless, it's tasteless. Tofel Lavan. This generation was so smart, they understand if Moshe says Tofel, it's Tafel. Oh, he's speaking about the man, and the man is white. Okay, he's rebuking us, he's telling us, remember what you complained about the man. Okay? Chatzerot. What's Chatzerot? Chatzerot is the place where Korach had the dispute with Moshe Rabbeinu. So he's not saying, remember what happened with Korach when 15 people died in 2 days.
No, 15,
he's not saying 15,000, yeah. 15,000 people died in 2 days. He's not saying that. Chatzerot, figure out. Di Za'av. Di Za'av is Dai Za'av, a lot of gold.
Okay.
What is he referring to? The golden calf. So instead of saying, oh, you remember he did Avodah Zarah with the golden calf? Di Za'av, code, it's a code. Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking with codes now. He's just giving names of places, and if it's not a place, they have to figure out, but they're so smart, right? Moshe Rabbeinu is coding the places, and they understand exactly what he wants to say, right? Why? Rashi says why? He did not want to embarrass the Jewish people. There was a big rabbi called Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, if you take all the prayer of Rosh Hashanah Kippur, he composed most of it. Most of the piyutim, you know the piyutim, not the text of the Amidah. Text of the Amidah is Anshe Knesset HaGedolah, but the piyutim, Lecha Eli Teshukati, right? All the Shema Koli Beon, everything is Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. All the piyutim is Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, right? Akuzari, okay? The Kuzari was the goy. So this guy, they had discussion. He had a discussion with the king called Kuzari. So the king asked him, I don't understand. I'm reading the Torah, and you guys complain so much, you Jewish people. God took you out of Egypt. God gave you water in the desert. God gave you man. God gave you food. God took care of you so much. And every time you just complain, we want meat, we want this. You're not embarrassed to be part of these people. So Rabbi Yehuda Halevi answered him, Your Majesty, could we count how many complaints did he complain in 40 years? Take them going out to the desert before coming to Israel, 40 years. How many complaints there's in the Torah? They counted. How many complaints? 10. In 40 years, only 10 complaints and 10 mistakes. Because Egel HaZahav was inside. Right. The spies, the story of the spies going to Israel and coming and speaking bad about Israel. Complaining about, we want meat. Complaining about the man. How many complaints in 40 years? 10. A person complains 40 times a day. Right? So then the king, the Chaver, the Kuzari says, wow. Really, you know, when you read it, it looks like boom. Okay. But now when you realize, you digest, and you're right. This was a wonderful generation. Yes, they complained, but in total, in 40 years, they had only 10 complaints. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, this is a tzaddikim, those are tzaddikim. I'm not going to start speaking back to them. The Gemara says when you rebuke someone, when you want to say rebuke someone, you should know how to do it. You should know how to do that. So I'll give you an example. There was in Russia, they used to draft young kids to the army, 17, 18. Unfortunately, they used to draft also Jewish kids. And over there, in the Russian army, there's no kosher, there's no Shabbat. You cannot keep Shabbat, you cannot keep holiday, you cannot keep a lot of things you cannot keep. So a lot of kids tried to avoid, they didn't want to get drafted. There used to be tzaddikim that used to go to get a bracha from them, and the bracha used to always help. Like the Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim was known, whoever got a letter that he has to come to the army, if he gives you a bracha, Hashem Ya'azor Lecha, always got cancelled. Always. One time, one of his best students, got drafted to the army, and he came for bracha. So he told them, Hashem Ya'azor. God should help you. Okay. Rabbeinu, I got a letter. Told him Hashem Ya'azor. He repeated, Hashem should help you. He started to cry. People come to him, everybody, he's not a student, he says, Hashem would help you, don't worry. Me, he says, Hashem Ya'azor Ya'anu. He understood he gets drafted, and he got drafted. He came there, and he started to see there's a lot of Jewish kids. But the food is not kosher. Shabbat is not Shabbat. Masa. Every night he would gather the Jewish kids. He would give them a lesson of Torah. He was a chacham. He would give them Torah. First time, the first class he gave them about kosher. The Torah says to eat kosher. Why it's important to eat kosher. What's kosher exactly? What are you not supposed to eat food with worms? Wow. So they called them the rabbi. Rabbeinu. But in the army, we don't have all this. He says, yeah, we don't have all this. But we can make a food strike. So, food strike, shvita. So if you want to join me, starting tomorrow, we make a food strike. We don't eat. Came lunchtime, they said, the strike. I said, by the night, when they come the night, they're going to be hungry. Came the night, they said, strike. Came the morning, strike. The general didn't know what to do. So he called the higher up. He told them, what's going on? He says, I have 50 soldiers over here, they're on a food strike, and I need them. So he says, what do you want? They want kosher. Give them kosher. Yeah, you need them. Give them kosher. What's kosher? I don't know. Give them kosher. They brought kosher. They brought them kosher. Fair. Now he's continuing to give classes. He started to speak about Shabbat. Shabbat, that we're not supposed to do melachot. What's a melacha? What's a work? Not work. So they said, Rabbeinu, what are we doing? Tomorrow is Shabbat. We don't do nothing. They call us, we said, strike. We stay in the place. He's serious. He says, yeah. The next day, they have to go, some of them have to go to guard. We're not going, it's Shabbat. What? Excuse me? Shabbat. Shabbat, no Shabbat, you have to go out. No, strike. Kill us, put us in prison. The guy calls the eye. Says, hello. They tell me Shabbat. What's Shabbat? What's Shabbat now? He says, you need them. Don't argue with them. Give him Shabbat. Give him whatever they want. Switch, make guards and give them Sunday, whatever. Then the high officer, the high came to camp. He says, I want you to find out who is the guy getting everybody so excited. Shabbat, kosher. Who is it? They showed him he says, come here. I give you a letter. Get out of here. Never come back over here. Just get out of here. Because you're getting everybody, Shabbat, kosher. He ran to the Chafetz Chaim and he told him, he says, that's why I wanted you to go there.
Exactly.
I wanted you to go there to save all those kids. I could have told you, bracha, not to go, but I knew there's a lot of Jewish kids over there. And the Chafetz Chaim, he wrote special books just for those kids. He wrote books for them, how to keep Shabbat, how to eat kosher. In places that there's no kosher, there's no Shabbat, he wrote books for them to know how to save them. So there was another Rebbe at that time, he used to give berachot. So one kid, he was 17, came to him, he said, Rebbe, I got a letter drafted to the army. Yeah. So the Rebbe told him, Tagidli, tell me, you put tefillin every morning? Rebbe, I won't lie, I try to put tefillin. Oh. Tell me, you keep Shabbat? Rebbe, I tell you, I try not to take a car, but sometimes I have. And kosher? He told him, listen to me. I hope the Russian army is going to be disappointed from you the way I am disappointed from you as a Jew. Send it. He went, and for some reason they said, no, your profile is too low. We don't need you. They sent him home. He came running to the Rebbe and told him, but one said, on the way, you understand? One said, what did he say? I hope they're going to get disappointed from you the way I was disappointed from you.
Yeah.
What is this? This is a rebuke.
Yeah.
This is a tochacha.
Yeah.
He could have told them, what? You don't keep Shabbat, you don't keep kosher. Instead of that, he gave him bracha, but the bracha was hiding, you understand, with a rebuke. Chazal b'tshuva. So that's why Moshe Rabbeinu says, what, I'm going to start rebuking them now? The Gemara says, when Yaakov Avinu was about to pass away, he rebuked a little bit Reuven about what he did, Shimon, and then he saw Yehuda going backwards. He says, no, Yehuda, come here, come here, Yehuda, come. Don't worry, I'm not going to rebuke you, right? Why? When you rebuke somebody, he gets scared, he gets embarrassed, right? So that's why the Gemara says, Yaakov Avinu waited to rebuke his kids till the end of the days. Samuch lemitato. Because he didn't want to, some person embarrassed, he sees you, he doesn't want to look at you. Moshe Rabbeinu says, what, I'm going to start to rebuke him now. So you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say words. Dizav, Egel Azav, Lavan, Tofen, or Deman. So he said words for them to understand, right, without getting embarrassed. This is the Chokhmah. The Chokhmah is to know, right, to know how to. One kid told me today, one of the young kids, they're 18, 20, no, they're 20, 21.
It's a kid for us.
A kid, yeah. He told me today something interesting. He told me he went to a class, and the rabbi said, Be'ezrat Hashem, when you get married, because they're looking for shidduchim, when you get married, whatever your wife said, whatever she says, close your mouth. I told him it's not true. Yes, you suppose, but it's not true. You know why? Because then you accumulate. If your wife does something that you don't like, you accumulate. You don't like it, but you don't say anything. The fact not saying, it's worse. One day you're going to explode. We're going to have a small fight for nothing. You're going to explode, and you bring back 20 years in one shot.
Yeah.
So you have to have a chokhmah how to tell your wife. You cannot come to your wife and say, hey, I don't like the way you cook. I don't like the way you fix the table. Never say that. This is you killing yourself. You're killing your shlom bayit. Never say that. But you don't like, sometimes there's certain things you don't like. For example, I give them an example. Your wife is a little bit messy. Right? Some men are messy, some ladies are messy. It's no rule. Right? Some people are too organized. Some people cannot see. He sees a fly on the thing, it bothers him. Each one with his nature. But let's say you got married to a wife, right? So if you go and you tell a wife, you're too messy, wow, that's it. You killed your shlom bayit. And the problem is, what's the problem? Ladies have memory for 50 years. After 50 years, they're going to tell you remember 50 years ago you told me. I don't even remember this. She remembers this. Yeah. This is ladies. Okay. אתה מבין? אז תיזהר מה אתה אומר. Watch out what you're saying, right? But wait, there's ways to say things. There's ways to say things. What are you supposed to say? Let's say every morning you come and you see the cup of coffee always on the thing instead of putting it in the sink. Sometimes milk is spilled. So you tell the wife, let's make coffee. בוא נעשה קפה ביחד. Let's make coffee, sit together, speak. And then she puts the cup on the counter. So there's two ways to do it. You take her cup and your cup. Look, I'm going to put it in the sink. She's chacham. She's going to understand. You understand? She's smart. If she doesn't want to understand, it's something else, right? Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to put it in the sink because it bothers me to see the cup on the sink. You didn't tell her. Right. That she leaves the cup on the counter. You just told her it bothers you, but you said it by the way. It's different than saying directly.
Of course. When
you say it directly, they get offended. By the way, so if she loves you and she cares about you, she likes the shlom bayit, she's going to say, to herself, she's going, he doesn't like it. She's going to start doing it. She's going to start doing it. You understand? There's ways to say things, right? So you have to watch out what you say. So that's why Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm going to rebuke them, but I don't want them to feel bad after, Moshe, because right after that, he's going to pass away, Moshe Rabbeinu. After 37 days, it's finished. So you leave. He's going to leave the people with like chas v'shalom a bad taste. He told us, and just before he passed away, it's a bad taste, right? So instead of that, right? Say it in a way you don't offend the person. Learn to say, right? You see somebody talking in Bet HaKnesset, right? Those people that talk in Bet HaKnesset, in Shul, always when you tell them, Shah, they start screaming. Shh, shh. You tell them, shh. Shake it. They make fun of it. Shh. Right, make fun. What do you do with those people? Right? So you can come over. Achi, you see what Rashi says? And then the Chazan starts. Oh, 1 second. Let's hear what he says. So you have to do it in a way not to offend people. You start screaming sheket, he's going to scream out loud. Okay? You have to know how to approach people. Each one has a weak point that you have to. That's what David Amer says. Mesilot bilvavam. You have to find the path to their heart. Each person has a different path that you can reach his heart, right? Each one is different. You have to know the person. So before starting to say anything, learn who you're dealing with. So this way, you're gonna be able to reach his heart and touch the most sensitive part to bring him to the right point. So this was exactly. So this is the book of Devarim. The book of Devarim is rebuke, right? Mostly rebuke. There's going to be a few mitzvot. It's going to be a few things, right? There's going to be the 10 Commandments. There's going to be, but it's rebuke, tochacha, but full of love, full of honey, right? Ela devarim, the Midrash says devorim, like a bee, right? The bee, you tell the bee, don't sting me, don't give me your honey, right? Over here, Moshe Rabbeinu is not stinging them, but he's giving them honey. He's telling them, here, I'll give it to you in a nice way. So that's why he's teaching us. In life, you have to know how to deal with things, right? Going against a wall, it's not good. Either if the wall is stronger than you're going to fall. So try to do things in an easy way. So even if you don't like something, think how you're going to say it, how you're going to do it, so the person should also accept it. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן.